The little girl stands at the edge of the forest trail as a restless wind sweeps across the coastal trees, and the dog named Marlowe crouches low, as if preparing for a mission of its own, while the adults exchange doubtful looks, unsure if they should allow a child to guide them into the deepening shadows of the wilderness. But something in her steady gaze holds them in place, as if she knows a truth they cannot yet seem. Marlowe takes a cautious step forward, sniffing the ground with fierce intent, while the girl keeps her hand lightly on his back, feeling the tension in his muscles building like a coil ready to spring, and she whispers that Marlowe remembers the missing man because the seal once trained with dogs near the cliffs a detail she shares with quiet certainty that sends a ripple of unease through the group as they consider how a simple family dog could hold memories tied to military secrets. The forest around them grows darker as the canopy thickens overhead, allowing only thin beams of fading light to pass through, and those thin beams flicker like lanterns in a restless sea, while the adults follow slowly behind the girl, observing the dog for any clue about what compels him deeper, as if he senses a trail that human eyes cannot detect, and each step they take feels heavier than the one before, as though the woods themselves are watching. The girl pauses near a jagged outcrop of stone that rises like an ancient sentinel guarding the heart of the wilderness, and Marlowe circles the rock with focused precision, his nose tracing invisible patterns across its rough surface. Then he freezes with his head tilted toward a cluster of low branches, swaying in a wind that does not touch the rest of the forest. And the adults inch closer, feeling the strange stillness settle over them like drifting fog. She kneels by the stone, placing her hand on its cold surface as if trying to feel through it to something hidden beneath, and she tells them that the seal once spoke to her class about surviving harsh terrain and how he trained to read the land the way others read books, and perhaps Marlowe heard the same story because the dog suddenly lets out a soft, low sound that vibrates through the air like a secret message meant only for those who dare to listen. The forest path narrows as they continue forward, becoming a winding corridor between towering trunks that stretch high above like silent guardians, and the group feels the weight of the growing dusk settle on their shoulders while the girl remains steady, leading them with calm determination, as Marlowe moves with newfound urgency, tugging slightly at the leash as if time itself is pressing against him, urging him onward toward an unseen destination. A chill creeps across the ground as they approach a clearing half hidden by thick underbrush, and the girl stops again, her eyes scanning the shadows, while Marlowe steps forward with deliberate care, sniffing the air as if picking up a scent carried on a faint drift of ocean mist, and the adults begin to feel the strange sensation that they are crossing a boundary between familiar terrain and something deeper, more secret, something few are meant to witness. The clearing itself is small, cluttered with broken branches and patches of disturbed earth, suggesting that someone or something moved through recently, and and Marlowe digs lightly at the ground as the girl bends to inspect the scattered debris, noticing a torn piece of fabric that looks like part of a uniform, though the dim light makes its color difficult to distinguish, and she calls softly to the adults to come see, though her voice carries a hint of dread. They gather around the fabric, and one of the adults carefully lifts it, holding it to the fading light where its texture reveals it is made from a material used in military gear, and the realization sends a ripple through the group as they wonder if the missing seal passed through the clearing wounded, or trying to evade something, or perhaps searching for help. And Marlowe steps closer, sniffing the fabric with intense focus, then looks toward the trees with unwavering direction. The girl takes a deep breath, steadying herself as Marlowe pulls lightly toward a narrow gap between two fallen trunks where the dense brush forms a natural archway over the path, and she leads the group under the arch, feeling the temperature drop as a heavy shadow swallows the space around them, while faint sounds echo in the distance like dripping water or muffled footsteps, though no one can tell if they come from within the forest or from the cliffs. Beyond once past the archway, the terrain shifts into a steep downward slope, covered with loose soil and tangled roots, and Marlowe navigates it with careful steps, while the adults follow with growing caution, gripping nearby branches to steady themselves as the girl moves more quickly, driven by a quiet certainty that the trail is becoming clearer. And each movement they make seems to echo through the woods as though the forest is amplifying their presence at the bottom of the slope lies a narrow ridge overlooking a deep ravine where the wind rises in sudden bursts, carrying faint scents of salt water and stone, and Marlowe stands at the edge, poised and alert, staring across the ravine toward a shadowed formation of rocks that resembles the mouth of a cave partially hidden by twisted vines, and the girl steps beside him, narrowing her eyes as if trying to decipher a silent clue carried through the air. Marlowe begins to bark softly, a restrained, urgent sound unlike his usual bark, as though he is calling someone rather than sounding an alarm, and the girl whispers that this is how he behaved the night he sensed that something was wrong with the seal. The night the man disappeared from the training site near the cliffs, and the adults feel a new unease curling through their thoughts as they are walking directly toward the truth behind his disappearance. They search for a safe way across the ravine and find a fallen tree bridging the gap, though the trunk is old and worn, with moss clinging to its class. Measy Didge, clinging to its class. It's, quote, the Warsklaus, on lasting color. It's, quote, ward, the truth might size. You will love with class. You'll sive we sell the endy. We sell to the amend. We will sell it selled. We sell it. We may selled, the wide I self, we selled. I'm quite sid. You sell it to it. We all sits in a quote a tag to be, so let's it's a guy big as it to be say sits a kick it to me it a let's get sick it get brands to sit it to set it to look to it to cook that to spit that surface, and Marlowe crosses first with careful balance while the girl follows close behind, spreading her arms for steadiness as the adults hesitate before finally stepping onto the precarious crossing, feeling every inch of the drop below them draw at their fears like an unseen force on the other side. The air feels strangely still, as if holding its breath, and Marlowe moves toward the vine-covered entrance, sniffing deeply before placing one paw inside the darkness, while the girl waits for him to signal further, and the adults gather behind her there, pulse quickening as they sense that whatever lies within may answer the questions haunting the town since the seal vanished, but might also reveal something far more unsettling. Marlowe steps deeper into the darkness, and the girl follows him into the narrow passage where the air grows cooler and the soft sound of distant water becomes more pronounced, though its rhythm feels unnatural, as if it is echoing from more than one direction, and the adults squeeze into the passage after them there, footsteps muffled by damp earth as the tunnel twists ahead like a winding serpent leading to secrets long buried beneath the coastal cliffs. They reach a small chamber where the walls glisten with faint moisture reflecting the last traces of outside light, and Marlowe circles the space, searching for another hidden opening while the girl examines the ground, noticing marks that look like footprints, though they end abruptly near the far wall, and she feels the hairs on her arms rise as she realizes the seal may have stood exactly where she is standing now before something pulled him deeper into the unknown. Marlowe suddenly stops at the corner of the chamber, his body tense, his eyes fixed on a crack in the stone where a thin breath of air rises from below, carrying the unmistakable scent of human presence, and the girl steps closer, feeling the weight of discovery pressing against her chest. As the adults stare into the darkness, sensing that the chamber is only the beginning, and that something waits beneath the stone just beyond where the dim light reaches, the chamber grows colder as the girl places her hand against the cracked stone, feeling a faint vibration pulsing from deep below like a hidden heartbeat, and Marlowe begins to pace in tight circles, his fur bristling as if he senses something moving beneath them, while the adults exchange anxious glances, unsure whether to retreat or press forward into the unknown that seems to beckon with silent urgency. The crack widens slightly when the girl pushes against it, revealing a narrow descent carved through the rock as though someone forced their way upward in desperation, and the stale air rising from below carries a whisper of salt and sweat, hinting that the missing seal may have traveled this path before his strength failed, and Marlowe leans his head into the opening, whining softly, as if pleading for them to follow. They lower themselves into the passage, one by one, sliding along rough stone, as the darkness swallows them, while the faint sound of trickling water echoes in a slow, steady rhythm that feels strangely deliberate, like footsteps fading into the depths. And the girl leads with Marlowe beside her, his nose twitching as he follows. A scent, too, faint for human senses, yet strong enough to drive him with unwavering purpose. Tunnel opens into a cavern illuminated by thin beams of light filtering through unseen cracks high above, and the air feels charged as if the space has been waiting for their arrival. And the girl scans the cavern, noticing marks on the ground that resembled deliberate signals etched with trembling hands, suggesting the seal attempted to leave a trail for whoever might come searching. Marlowe darts toward a corner of the cavern where a faint rustling sound breaks the stillness, and the girl hurries after him, finding a cluster of broken branches, torn fabric, and a shallow pool reflecting the dim light, and she kneels beside it,